The red emergency lights flashed across the bridge of the starship Aegis as Commander Jin-Ho stared at the incoming transmission. Static filled the speakers before a desperate voice broke through the cosmic noise. "This is Captain Lee Won of the colony ship New Seoul. We are under attack. Repeat, we are under attack. They came from nowhere. Massive ships, bigger than anything we've ever seen. They're destroying everything. The orbital stations are gone. The defense grid is down. If anyone receives this message, warn Earth. Tell them the swarm is coming." The transmission cut to static. Jin-Ho felt his blood turn cold as he processed what he had just heard. New Seoul was one of humanity's furthest colonies, located 3 weeks from Earth at maximum warp speed. If it had fallen, that meant the threat was already closer than anyone had imagined. "Sora, get down here now," Jin-Ho barked into his communicator. Within minutes, his chief engineer appeared on the bridge, her dark hair tied back and grease stains on her uniform from working in the engine room. "What's the situation, Commander?" Sora asked, wiping her hands on a cloth. "We just received a distress call from New Seoul. The colony is under attack by unknown hostiles. I need you to boost our long-range sensors to maximum power. We need to see what's out there." Timon, the ship's pilot, looked up from his navigation console. "Commander, if New Seoul is gone, we should be heading back to Earth to warn them." "Not yet," Jin-Ho replied firmly. "We need intelligence first. We can't warn Earth about something we don't understand." Sora's fingers flew across the engineering console, rerouting power from non-essential systems to the sensor array. The main view screen flickered as the sensors reached their maximum range, scanning the deep space beyond their position. What they saw made everyone on the bridge freeze in horror. Dozens of massive alien ships moved through space like a dark cloud of death. Each vessel was the size of a city, their hulls black as the void between stars. Strange blue energy coursed along their surfaces like veins of lightning, but what terrified Jin-Ho most was their formation. They moved with perfect coordination, like a school of fish or a flock of birds, as if controlled by a single mind. "My God," whispered Taman. "How many are there?" Sora ran the numbers through the computer. "I count 47 capital ships, plus hundreds of smaller escort vessels. Commander, this fleet could wipe out every human settlement in the Outer Rim." Jin-Ho studied the alien formation carefully. The ships were moving in a direct line toward the inner colonies, and beyond that, Earth itself. Their speed was incredible, faster than any human vessel could travel. Sora patched me through to Admiral Park at Earth Defense Command, Priority Alpha Channel. The communication array crackled to life, and Admiral Park's weathered face appeared on the screen. "Jin-Ho, what's your status?" "Admiral, we have a code. Red situation. An alien fleet of unknown origin has attacked and destroyed New Seoul Colony. They're heading toward Earth with approximately 50 capital ships and hundreds of support craft." Admiral Park's expression grew grave. "Are you certain about this intelligence?" "Confirmed, sir. We're tracking them on long-range sensors right now. Based on their current speed and trajectory, they'll reach the outer defense perimeter in 72 hours. Understood. I'm ordering all available ships to converge on Earth immediately. Jin-Ho, I need you to shadow that alien fleet. Stay at maximum sensor range and report their movements. Do not engage under any circumstances." "Yes, sir." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in tense silence. Jin-Ho turned to his crew, seeing the same fear and determination in their eyes that he felt in his own heart. Taman set course to follow the alien fleet. "Stay at the edge of sensor range. If they detect us, we run." "Understood, Commander." "I want you to analyze everything our sensors pick up about those ships. Their technology, their weapons, their propulsion systems. Find me something we can use." Sora nodded grimly. "I'll get right on it." As the Aegis changed course to follow the alien armada, Jin-Ho couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was about to face its greatest challenge. The aliens had already destroyed 12 human colonies, each one home to millions of people. Their technology was clearly superior, their numbers overwhelming. But Jin-Ho had learned something important about humans during his years in space. When faced with impossible odds, when everything seemed hopeless, humans didn't give up. They fought harder. They became more creative, more desperate, more dangerous. The alien fleet might be powerful, but they had never faced humanity before. They had no idea what they were dealing with. Commander Sora called out from her station. "I'm picking up some strange energy readings from the alien ships. It's like nothing I've ever seen before." Jin-Ho walked over to examine the data. Whatever these aliens were, whatever they wanted, humanity would be ready for them. The massive alien mothership appeared on Earth's long-range sensors like a dark moon blocking out the stars. It was 3 times larger than Earth's biggest space station, its surface covered in strange geometric patterns that pulsed with blue energy. Smaller ships swarmed around it like angry wasps protecting their nest. In the Earth Defense Command Center, Admiral Park stood before a room full of worried officers. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Every screen showed the same terrifying sight. The alien fleet had arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system and was now broadcasting a message on all frequencies. People of Earth, the alien voice spoke in perfect English, though it sounded cold and mechanical, like a computer trying to imitate human speech. I am Prime Directive of the Collective. Your species has been evaluated. You will surrender your planet immediately or face the same fate as your colonies. You have one of your time periods called hours to comply. The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Get me Diplomat Hyson, Admiral Park ordered. If there's any chance of talking our way out of this, she's our best shot. Hyson arrived within minutes, her calm demeanor a sharp contrast to the panic filling the room. She had spent years negotiating trade agreements with distant human colonies, but this was unlike anything she had ever faced. Admiral, I need everything we know about these aliens before I attempt contact, she said, reviewing the data on her tablet. That's where scientist Minho comes in, Admiral Park replied. He's been analyzing their technology since Jinho's first report. Minho, what have you learned? Minho looked up from his computer terminal, exhaustion clear on his face. He had been working non-stop for 3 days, trying to understand the alien ships. Their technology is incredible, but also strange. Their ships seem to be grown rather than built like living organisms. The energy signatures suggest some kind of biological component to their systems. What does that mean for us? Hyson asked. It means they might think differently than we do. Their decision-making process could be completely alien to human logic. Hyson nodded and walked to the communication station. Open a channel to the alien fleet. Let's see if we can reason with them. The main screen flickered, and suddenly they were looking at something that made several officers step backward in shock. The alien leader was tall and thin, with pale, gray skin that seemed to shimmer like liquid metal. Its eyes were completely black, and when it moved it seemed to flow rather than walk. Behind it, dozens of similar beings stood in perfect formation. I am Hyson, representative of the human species, she began, keeping her voice steady despite her racing heart. We wish to discuss terms of peaceful coexistence. The alien tilted its head in a way that seemed almost curious. Terms that are no terms. The collective has spoken. Your species will submit or be eliminated. Surely we can find some middle ground, Hyson pressed. Humans are reasonable beings. We can negotiate. Negotiate. The alien's voice carried what almost sounded like confusion. This word is unknown to the collective. Your colonies did not negotiate. They submitted immediately when they witnessed our power. Why do you resist? Minho looked up from his analysis with surprise. He quickly typed a message to Hyson. They've never encountered resistance before. Hyson saw the message and felt a spark of hope. Prime Directive, may I ask how many worlds the collective has encountered? The collective has absorbed 437 species across 12 sectors of this galaxy. All submitted, upon witnessing our superiority. But humans are different, Hyson said boldly. We don't submit easily, we fight for what we believe in. The alien was quiet for a long moment, and behind it, the other beings seemed to ripple like water, as if they were all connected somehow. This behavior is ... unexpected. Your colonies witnessed the destruction of their defense systems. They saw our power, yet you still refuse submission. That's right, Hyson said, gaining confidence. Humans have something your collective might not understand. We call it courage. When faced with impossible odds, we don't give up. We fight harder. Minho was frantically analyzing the alien ship's energy patterns during the conversation. What? He saw made his eyes widen. Hyson, he whispered urgently. Their ships are showing stress patterns. Our resistance is affecting them somehow. The alien leader seemed to notice the disruption as well. The collective must process this anomaly. Your species shows patterns that do not match our predictions. This has never occurred before. Prime Directive Hyson continued. Perhaps the collective should reconsider. Humans might offer something valuable. Our unpredictability, our creativity, our refusal to accept defeat. The alien's black eyes seemed to study her more intently. The collective will analyze this data. Your resistance creates complications in our calculations. We require additional processing time. The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the command center buzzing with nervous energy. Did we just buy ourselves more time? Admiral Park asked. Minho looked up from his instruments with a mixture of fear and excitement. Admiral, I think we discovered something important. These aliens have never encountered a species that fights back. Their entire system might be based on easy conquest through intimidation. Hyson smiled grimly. Then they picked the wrong species to mess with. Humans have been fighting impossible battles since the dawn of time. The space around Earth had become a battlefield unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Captain Eugene gripped the command chair of the battleship Thunder as explosions lit up the darkness like deadly fireworks. Around him, 200 human ships faced off against the massive alien fleet that had come to destroy their home. All ships. This is Eugene, he spoke into his communicator, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth, we're fighting for every human who ever lived, and every human who ever will live. Make them count. The alien ships moved like a single organism, their formation perfect and predictable. But Eugene had studied their attack patterns from the colony massacres, and he had noticed something important. The collective expected their enemies to behave logically, to retreat when faced with superior firepower. Helm, take us straight at their flagship, Eugene ordered. His navigation officer Kung Ho looked at him with wide eyes. Sir, that's suicide. That ship is 10 times our size. Trust me, Eugene replied with a grin. Sometimes the craziest plan is the best plan. The Thunder shot forward like a bullet, its engines glowing bright blue as it accelerated toward the enormous alien mothership behind them. The rest of the human fleet scattered in what looked like complete chaos. Some ships dove downward, others spiraled upward, and a few began flying in zigzag patterns that made no tactical sense. The alien fleet hesitated. For the first time since the battle began, their perfect formation wavered. They had been programmed to respond to logical military tactics, but what the humans were doing looked like madness. Captain, Communications Officer Guiyang called out, the alien ships are slowing down. I think we're confusing them. Good, Eugene said. Patch me through to Dr. Yunha in the research lab. Deep inside Earth's most secure military facility, Dr. Yunha was working frantically on humanity's last hope. She had been studying the alien technology for weeks, trying to find some weakness they could exploit. Her laboratory was filled with screens showing complex equations and energy patterns that would have made most people's heads spin. Eugene, I need more time, she said without looking up from her work. The weapon isn't ready yet. How much more time? Eugene asked as his ship shook from an alien energy blast that barely missed them. 20 minutes, maybe 30 if I'm lucky. We'll get you 30, Eugene promised, then switched back to the fleet channel. All ships, we need to keep them busy. For 30 more minutes, time to show these aliens what human creativity looks like. What happened next would be talked about in military academies for generations. The human fleet began performing maneuvers that had never been seen in space combat. Captain Dongwu's ship started flying backward while shooting forward. Lieutenant Commander Haewon's squadron began spinning like tops while firing in all directions. Some pilots even started playing music over the communication channels, turning the battle into a deadly dance. The alien ships, controlled by their collective mind, couldn't process what they were seeing. Their computers had been programmed to respond to standard military tactics, flanking maneuvers, concentrated attacks, strategic retreats, but humans weren't following any rules. Their formation is breaking apart, reported Tactical Officer Sunho from his position on the Thunder's bridge. They don't know how to respond to our chaos. Eugene watched as several alien ships collided with each other, their pilots confused by the human fleet's unpredictable movements. But he knew this advantage wouldn't last long. The aliens were learning, adapting to human tactics with each passing minute. Dr. Yunha status report, he called out. Almost there, came her strained voice. I think I've found their weakness. These ships are all connected through some kind of quantum network. If I can disrupt that connection. Suddenly, the alien fleet regrouped. They had figured out that the human chaos was intentional, and they began adapting their tactics. Instead of trying to predict human movements, they started firing at everything, turning space into a deadly storm of energy beams. The human ships began taking heavy damage. The destroyer Seoul's Pride exploded in a ball of fire. The cruiser, New Busan, lost its engines and began drifting helplessly. But still, the human fleet kept fighting. Sir, we're losing ships fast, Kung Ho reported. Maybe we should retreat and regroup. No retreat, Eugene said firmly. Dr. Yunha needs more time, and we're going to give it to her. As if hearing his words, the The doctor's voice crackled over the communication system. I've got it, Eugene. I need you to get as close as possible to their command ship. I'm uploading a virus into your ship's computer when you're within range. We can inject it directly into their network. A virus? Eugene asked, steering the Thunder through a maze of alien fire, not a computer virus. Dr. Yunhar explained excitedly. A chaos virus. It will make their collective mind think like humans, random, unpredictable, creative. Their own network will turn against them. Eugene smiled as he pushed the Thunder's engines to maximum power. Time to give these aliens a taste of human insanity. The Aegis shook violently as Commander Jinho watched the battle unfold through his view screen. The human fleet was being torn apart. Ships exploded one after another like popping balloons, their crews fighting to the very end. The Thunder flagship was barely holding together, its hull cracked and engines sputtering. Commander, we have to help them, Taemin said from the pilot seat, his knuckles white as he gripped the controls. Jinho's heart was breaking as he watched his fellow humans die, but he knew rushing in would only add one more ship to the casualty list. Not yet. We need to understand what we're fighting first. For the past hour, Jinho had been studying the alien fleet's movements, looking for any pattern or weakness. Sora was beside him, her engineering expertise helping to analyze the enemy's technology. What they discovered changed everything. Commander, look at this, Sora said, pointing to her screen. Watch how they respond to our attacks. Jinho studied the data carefully. When human ships attacked from the left, all alien ships moved right in perfect synchronization. When humans attacked from above, every alien vessel dove downward at exactly the same angle. It was like watching a single organism with thousands of bodies. They're not individual ships, Jinho realized. They're all connected somehow, controlled by one mind. Exactly, Sora confirmed. But look what happens when our ships do something unexpected. She replayed footage of Captain Eugene's earlier maneuvers, when he had flown his ship in crazy patterns. The alien ships had hesitated, their perfect formation breaking apart for several crucial seconds. They can't handle chaos, Jinho said, with growing excitement. Their collective mind is designed for order and logic. When we do something random, it confuses them. But Commander, Taemin interrupted, Eugene's ship is about to be destroyed. We can't analyze data while our friends are dying. Jinho made a decision that would change the course of the battle. Sora, contact every surviving ship in the fleet. I have an idea, but it's going to sound completely insane. Within minutes, Sora had connected the Aegis to the remaining 37 human ships. Many were damaged, their crews exhausted and scared. But when Jinho explained his plan, something amazing happened. Instead of despair, he heard determination in their voices. Listen carefully, Jinho broadcast to all ships. The aliens expect us to fight like a military force with tactics and strategy, but that's not who we are. We're humans. We're unpredictable, creative, and a little bit crazy. So here's what we're going to do. Sora pulled up a three-dimensional map of the battlefield on the main screen. I'm sending each ship different coordinates, but here's the important part. Ignore them completely. I want every captain to choose their own path, their own target, their own way of fighting. Don't follow orders, don't follow patterns, just follow your instincts. The response was immediate and chaotic. Captain Woojin of the destroyer Harmony started flying his ship in loops while firing at random targets. Lieutenant Sumi began her attack run upside down, her ship spinning like a drill. Commander Byung-ho's cruiser started flying backward while shooting forward, defying every rule of space combat. The effect on the alien fleet was immediate and devastating. Their collective mind, which had been so effective against organized resistance, couldn't process what it was seeing. Ships that should have been easy targets were behaving in ways that made no sense. The aliens' perfect coordination began to break down. It's working, Sora reported excitedly. Their formation is collapsing. They're starting to make mistakes. Jinho watched as alien ships began colliding with each other, their pilots confused by the chaotic human attacks. Some alien vessels were firing at empty space, their targeting systems unable to predict where the crazy human ships would go next. All ships. This is working better than I hoped, Jinho announced. But we need to take it to the next level. Sora, remember what you told me about quantum entanglement in their network? Sora's eyes lit up with understanding. If we can overload their collective mind with too much chaos, we might be able to shut down their entire fleet. Exactly. Everyone, listen up. We're going to coordinate the most uncoordinated attack in military history. I want every ship to do something completely different at exactly the same time. Sora will give you the signal. The next few minutes were pure madness. When Sora gave the signal, 37 human ships launched the most chaotic attack ever attempted. Some ships flew straight up, others dove down. One ship started spinning while another flew in a figure-8 pattern. Captain Dongsu's ship began firing in all directions while playing classical music over the communication channels. The alien collective mind couldn't handle it. Their network, designed for perfect order and logic, was overwhelmed by the sheer randomness of human creativity. Alien ships began acting independently for the first time, their collective consciousness fracturing under the chaos. "Commander, their big ships are powering down," Taemin reported. "I think their network is crashing." Jinho smiled as he watched the massive alien mothership begin to drift helplessly, its lights flickering like a dying star. "That's what you get for messing with humanity. We might not be the strongest or the smartest species in the galaxy, but we're definitely the craziest." The alien mothership drifted in space like a wounded giant, its lights flickering weakly as the collective's network struggled to recover from the chaos overload. But Commander Jinho knew the battle wasn't over yet. The smaller alien ships were still dangerous, and their collective mind was already trying to adapt to human unpredictability. "All ships, this is Jinho," he broadcast to the scattered human fleet. "We hurt them, but they're not finished. Now comes the hard part. We need to keep up the pressure while they're confused." Captain Eugen's voice crackled over the communication system, his ship barely holding together but still fighting. "Jinho, my engines are shot and half my weapons are offline, but we're still here, and we're still human." That simple statement sparked something incredible across the human fleet. One by one, damaged ships began reporting in. The destroyer New Hope had lost its main guns, but could still ram enemy vessels. The cruiser Spirit of Earth was leaking air, but its pilot, Captain Mayang, refused to retreat. Even the smallest scout ships, barely armed with emergency weapons, stayed in the fight. Dr. Yunha's voice came through from Earth's research facility, excitement clear in every word. "Ginho, the chaos virus is working better than I hoped. Their network is trying to reboot, but every time they attempt to reconnect, our random attacks crash their system again." "How long before they recover?" Jinho asked while dodging energy blasts from a confused alien fighter. "Unknown, but probably not long. These aliens are incredibly advanced. They'll find a way to adapt eventually." Jinho looked at his tactical display. The human fleet was down to 31 ships, all damaged, most running low on ammunition and fuel. The alien fleet still had over 40 capital ships, even if they were temporarily confused. In any logical military scenario, humanity should surrender now, but humans had never been particularly logical. "Sora, I need you to do something that's going to sound crazy even by our standards," Jinho said to his chief engineer. "Crazier than attacking a superior alien fleet with chaos tactics?" Sora asked with a tired smile. "Much crazier. I want you to take our entire remaining fuel supply and turn it into one massive explosion. We're going to ram the mothership." The bridge fell silent. Taemin turned from his pilot station with wide eyes. "Commander, that's suicide." "Maybe," Jinho replied. "But if we can take out their command ship, the rest of their fleet might collapse completely. And if we're going down anyway, let's make it count." Before anyone could respond, Captain Yu's voice came over the radio. "Jinho, I heard that plan. The Thunder is in worse shape than your ship. Let me make the run." "Negative, Eugene, you've done enough." "Like hell I have," Eugene shot back. "Besides, my ship's already falling apart. Might as well use the pieces for something useful." Suddenly, every ship captain in the fleet was volunteering for the suicide mission. Captain Wujin insisted his destroyer was the fastest. Lieutenant Sumi argued her ship had the heaviest armor. Commander Byung-ho claimed his engines were the most powerful. Jinho felt a lump in his throat as he listened to his fellow humans argue over who got to sacrifice themselves for Earth. This was what the aliens couldn't understand about humanity, their willingness to die for something bigger than themselves. "All ships, stand down," Jinho ordered. "We're not doing a suicide run, we're doing something even crazier. We're all going to ram them at the same time." The plan was beautiful in its simplicity and terrifying in its audacity. Every remaining human ship would overload their engines and ram different parts of the alien fleet simultaneously. With their network already damaged, the aliens wouldn't be able to coordinate a proper defense. "On my mark," Jinho announced as 31 human ships formed up for their final charge, for Earth, for humanity, for everyone who ever told the universe that humans don't give up. The alien fleet was finally beginning to recover, their collective consciousness slowly rebuilding itself. But as they regained awareness, they saw something that filled them with a new emotion they had never experienced before. Fear. 31 human ships were racing toward them at maximum speed, their engines overloaded and ready to explode. But instead of targeting the largest ships like any logical military force would do, the humans were attacking randomly. Some aimed for small fighters, others for medium cruisers, and a few were heading straight for empty space between ships. The collective's predictive systems crashed again, unable to calculate the logic behind such tactics. How do you defend against an enemy that attacks your weakest and strongest point simultaneously? How do you predict the movements of beings who seem to act without any plan at all? As the human ships closed in, something unprecedented happened. The alien fleet began to retreat, the massive mothership's engines flared to life, and the collective consciousness broadcast one final message to Earth. The Chaos species will be avoided. The collective has never encountered beings who fight without logic or self-preservation. You are ... unpredictable, dangerous. We withdraw from this sector. Jinho watched in amazement as the alien fleet jumped to hyperspace, abandoning their conquest of Earth. Around him, the human ships slowed their suicidal charge, their crews cheering and crying with relief. Did we just win? Taemin asked, in disbelief. We did more than win, Jinho replied, looking at Earth shining peacefully in the distance. We scared them. For the first time in their history, the collective meta-species they couldn't predict or control. The end.